Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss the important concepts of the fetal circulation. Myself Dr. Ankit Khandelwal, MBBS and MS in Anatomy. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Anatomy Explained. In this channel, we discuss various important topics of the human anatomy. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing it. Coming to the topic of the day, that is the fetal circulation. So first of all, the fetal circulation, why is it a separate topic? The simple reason is that the lungs of the fetus are still under development because it is inside the womb of the mother. Therefore, the exchange of the good and the bad blood, that is O2 and CO2, is happening in the mother's lung. Therefore, from there, the good blood, that is the oxygenated blood, has to enter into the fetal heart. Therefore, the whole circulation is slightly different from the adult circulation. So let us now try to understand what is this fetal circulation all about. So let us try to make the fetal heart over here, having few chambers which are divided by the septas. So this, between the two atria, we have the interatrial septum, and that is having a foramen ovale formed by the septum primum and the septum secundum. So this is the foramen ovale over here. Now here also we have the division between the RA and RB, and here we have the division between the LAA and LV, and below we have this as the membranous part and the muscular part of the interventricular septum. So these are all the septums, and let me write over here the name of the chambers. The small form RV, right ventricle, LV, left ventricle. This is your RA over here, that is the right atrium, and that is your LA over here, that is the left atrium. So these are the four chambers. Now there are slight differences that we'll subsequently see. Now what is happening is that in the fetus there is a placenta over here, the organ where the exchange of the maternal blood with the fetal blood is happening. So from this placenta is located over here, the good blood, which are representing with the red color, the good blood, that is the oxygenated blood, it will go inside through the umbilical cord, through the umbilicus, inside the body of the embryo or the fetus. Now inside, as it enters, it encounters an organ which is also under development, that is the organ liver. Now what happens is that in the liver, this oxygenated blood, it doesn't go inside totally into the liver, but yes, it will go give some blood to the liver for it, the oxygen and nutrients required for the development of the liver. Then it will bypass this whole liver via a different sort of vessel over here, that is known as a ductus venosus. And this vessel which was carrying the oxygenated blood from the umbilicus, that is from the mother, that is your left umbilical vein. The right one actually disappears, it is the left one which remains. So this left umbilical vein, which is carrying the oxygenated blood from the placenta through the umbilical cord, reaches around the liver. It doesn't go totally inside the liver, but it will give some blood to the liver for the normal amount which is required for the development of the liver. Now in the meantime, what is happening? In the meantime, from the lower part of the body, that is the lower limbs and the kidneys, the deoxygenated blood is being carried up by the IVC, that is the inferior vena cava. This IVC, as you know, in the adult anatomy of the liver also, it passes behind the liver, and therefore this IVC, which is carrying the deoxygenated blood, which is ultimately has to enter into the RA, it gets mixed up via this ductus venosus, which is carrying the blood from the left umbilical vein. So this oxygenated blood also gets mixed up and it enters into the RA. So both the IVC and the oxygenated blood from the left umbilical vein via the ductus venosus enters into the RA. Now the length over here are not in correct proportion. This is just for the understanding. Obviously the length for the vessel between the liver and the RA is not that much. Okay, it is very nearby. So ultimately it enters over here. Now if you have not yet seen, then look at the previous videos about the video on the right atrium. In the right atrium, when we look at inside the right atrium, then just above the opening of the IVC, which is a rudimentary wall known as the eustachian wall, you have the fossa ovalis and adult, which is actually the foramen ovale. So directly this blood over here, normally most of the blood directly enters from RA via this foramen ovale into the LA, along with some of the deoxygenated blood which is being carried from here. So all this oxygenated blood, the only oxygenated blood coming into the body of the fetus is this left umbilical vein. It goes from RA to LA via the foramen ovale. Why? Because pressure is more on the RA. So RA pushes this lower part, that is the part which is from the septum primum of the interatrial septum, and then the blood goes from RA to LA. Okay. Now from LA what happens? The blood will actually obviously has to go down into the LV. So this whole blood will actually go down into the LV. So LV will having the same amount of blood as your LA. Now from the LV, which vessel is coming out? From the LV we know that the aorta comes out. So I'm just removing this, so have some space. So what we have written is the name of the topic only. So from LV arises our aorta. So this is, say, our aorta. I'm going to make it slightly different color only. This is our aorta. So this is our aorta over here. So from this LV, the blood over here is this oxygenated blood. It goes inside the aorta. It goes inside the aorta along with partially deoxygenated blood coming from the IVC. And then this aorta, obviously we know it's giving off the branches. That's the brachiocephalic trunk, the left common carotid, and the left subclavians. These are the main branches of the arch of the aorta. So all this good blood over here will be actually being distributed through this brachiocephalics, the common carotids, and maybe even the left subclavian. So this is how the blood, the amount of good blood that enters into the body of the fetus has two bypasses. One, the ductus venosus over here, and one is your foramen ovale over here. That is known as the right to left shunt. Then it goes into which part of the body? Now the parts of the body which it's actually supplying is actually our head and neck. It's actually our head and neck and our upper limbs. And remember, the carotids are going to the head neck region. These subclavians are going to the upper limbs. So from there, the oxygenated blood goes, and what comes back from there is actually our deoxygenated blood. So that deoxygenated blood would be coming through the SVC. Okay, oxygenated blood went through the arch of aorta, and by return you have the deoxygenated blood. Now this SVC blood, which is also entering into the RA. But if you remember that anatomy of the right atrium, in which we studied the internal part of the right atrium, this opening of SVC is slightly anterior to the IVC. So inside the right atrium, what we have, if you look at the inside of the right atrium, then we had the structures over here, and we had this SVC opening over here. So what was actually happening, if you recall, then SVC directly opened and it entered into this area that was your tricuspid valve, or your right AV orifice, that is right atrioventricular orifice. And this blood from the IVC, this, let me show you the different color, this blood from the IVC would directly enter over here. That was your foramen ovale. In adults that was fossa ovalis, but in embryo that is your foramen ovale. So therefore blood from IVC directly enters into the foramen ovale, while blood from SVC, it actually goes into the right ventricle directly. So there is very little mixing of blood, if at all is there. There is very little mixing of blood. That is a, that is some sort of some sort of really magic over here, because both of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood are entering into a common chamber, and both are following different paths. They are crossing each other like this. One is going from IVC to the foramen ovale, other is going from SVC to the tricuspid also. They are crossing, and there is very little mixing of the blood. So finally what happens is that, if we come back to over here, then this deoxygenated blood from the upper part of the body will go from SVC into the RV. Now what was coming from the RV, the structure, the vessel which comes from the RV, we all know is the pulmonary trunk. This pulmonary trunk actually divides into the two pulmonary arteries over here. These pulmonary arteries are going where? They are obviously going into the developing lungs. Now here we make the developing lungs from this side, and this over here, these are developing lungs. Now obviously, as the lungs are not yet totally developed, the vascular resistance, the pulmonary vascular resistance, is going to be higher up. It's going to be higher up, and we have one more bypass structure over here, which is connecting the origin of the left pulmonary artery. I repeat again, the origin of the left pulmonary artery to the underneath the arch of aorta. That is known as, you're connecting the duct connecting two arteries, so that is known as a ductus arteriosus. This is known as the ductus arteriosus. So obviously, as we can say the deoxygenated or the bad blood enters into RV, it enters into pulmonary trunk, then it tries to go into the lungs, but there is very high vascular resistance. Only around 5 to 8% blood goes into the lungs. All the other deoxygenated blood enters via this ductus arteriosus into the distal part of the aorta. Into which part? Into the distal part of aorta. And if you remember, then this part of aorta over here is going to go down, and it is going to supply the remaining part of the body. So this is going and supplying the remaining parts of the body, which includes the thorax, the abdomen, the lower limb, all that tissue. So except this head, neck, and upper limb, except this upper head, neck, and upper limb. So what we ultimately get is that again, the deoxygenated blood which is coming back from the head and neck, SVC to RA to RV to pulmonary trunk. Now these vessels are having high resistance, so very less blood will go to the lungs. Only that amount of blood which is required for the growth of the lungs. rest all of the blood goes into the ductus arteriosus, into the distal part of aorta. Then it goes where it goes down into the remaining part of the body. And finally what happens is that this vessel over here, it's the descending aorta, it will, you know, in adults at the level of L4 it divides into the common iliac artery, which will divide into the external and the internal iliac artery. And from this internal iliac artery, you have a superior vesical artery. From this internal iliac gives off a superior vesical artery which goes through the upper part of the bladder, and its distal portion is the one which is actually forming the umbilical artery. And if I can make it with some different color, why? Because it is carrying this deoxygenated blood. It is carrying, actually wherever we use the term deoxygenated, it is not purely deoxygenated, it has to be slightly oxygenated blood also. And wherever we use the term oxygenated blood, it is not completely oxygenated. So obviously this blood which is going into the distal part of the aorta, it is more of deoxygenated. Why? Because all the blood from the SVC RA goes into it, while this blood which was coming from the left umbilical vein got mixed up with this IVC. It's again a mixture, and then it comes to the LV, then this goes to the arch of aorta. So as it goes to the head and neck, it also obviously is going to the brain. Therefore we all know that the brain is the most important organ of the body, so it is receiving the highest possible amount of oxygenated blood which a fetus can give to its organ, that is the brain. So brain over here gets all the oxygenated blood, while after the arch of aorta gives off these carotids and all, then after that you have the ductus arteriosus, then there's mixing of blood, and finally we have this as the umbilical arteries, which will actually, no, these are two, both right and left, which will actually form over here, and they will again form the umbilical cord, go into the placenta. And in the placenta there is exchange happening between these vessels, that is the umbilical capillaries, the fetal capillaries, and the blood of the mother, where the actual exchange is taking place. Between the waste products and the nutrients. Okay, so we have to repeat again because this is slightly, you have to listen carefully. I'll go slightly slow this time. Good blood coming into the left umbilical vein. Okay, good blood coming into the left umbilical vein. Okay, bypasses the liver via the ductus venosus, mixes with IVC, goes into the RA, directly goes via foramen ovale into the LA. Into this is your LA. That is a good blood, that is oxygenated. LA to LV, LV to aorta, aorta to arch of aorta. Good blood goes into the head, neck, particularly this brain part. Good blood goes particularly to this brain part. From there, when the blood will return, it will be deoxygenated, going again to RA, but it is more on the anterior aspect, and then it enters into the RV. If you remember, then we also used a term known as intravenous tubercle when we did a video on the right atrium. There is actually a presence of a structure known as intravenous tubercle between the two venous channels, that is from SVC to tricuspid and IVC to the foramen ovale. There is a structure known as intravenous tubercle. So SVC deoxygenated goes to RA, goes to RV, goes to pulmonary trunk, goes to through this ductus arteriosus into the distal part of the arch of aorta. Then this blood will mix up with whatever oxygenated blood is left after it supplies these three vessels. Whatever oxygenated blood is left, it will mix up with this, and then it will supply the remaining lower part of the body. And subsequently from there, the internal iliac artery, this is our internal iliac artery, will give off a superior vesical artery, which will actually, its distal continuation is our umbilical artery. This is our umbilical artery that will actually form the part of the umbilical cord. So in the umbilical cord, you have two umbilical arteries carrying the deoxygenated blood, and one umbilical vein, the left side, carrying the oxygenated blood. So this is actually what is happening in the fetal circulation. So few names which we need to remember, few differences are the ductus venosus. Okay, the second name over here, if you remember, the foramen ovale. The third name, if you should remember, it is a ductus arteriosus. These are the changes. And the fourth name, if you can remember, that was the umbilical vessels. We include both the umbilical artery as well as we should include the umbilical vein. These are the few names which we all should remember. Now what happens when the child is born? When the child is born, you clamp this umbilical cord and you cut the umbilical cord. All these structures, they start to regress. The lungs start to function. This pulmonary vascular resistance, which was quite high up, Now it will slow down so that the more of the deoxygenated blood enters in, instead of entering from pulmonary trunk to the ductus arteriosus, now it will enter the lungs, and from the lungs the oxygenated blood will again enter into the LA. When there's more blood in the LA, there's an increase in the pressure in the LA. The LA is going to close up this foramen ovale. So now this is closed. Ductus arteriosus closes. It becomes some other structure. Ductus venosus, it will slowly, it will also degenerate within few days. So in this slide, I want to tell you that ductus venosus becomes ligamentum venosum. Okay, foramen ovale becomes this after birth becomes fossa ovalis. Ductus arteriosus becomes ligamentum arteriosum. Umbilical artery becomes the medial umbilical ligament, and the umbilical vein, which is carrying the oxygenated blood, becomes the ligamentum teres hepatis. So just after birth, the changes start to happen. They don't occur overnight, but yes, slowly the changes will happen. Because the lungs are starting to develop. So the oxygenation of the blood, which was before happening in the mother, now will start to happen in the child. Therefore, when a child is born, it is always said that wait for the child to cry. If the child is not crying, then try to make the child cry. So that crying is very important. The more the child cries, the more air goes inside the lungs. The alveoli, they open up. There's a decrease of the vascular resistance inside the pulmonary capillaries, and the more of the blood will go from the pulmonary trunk to the pulmonary vessels, and therefore they will come back as oxygenated into the left atrium. Therefore the crying part is very important. In pediatrics we also talk of the Apgar score, very important, that part, that is the Apgar score. So this was the basics of our fetal circulation. Any query, any doubt, I'm happy to answer. So if you like the video, click on the like button, and if you have not yet subscribed, consider subscribing it and share the video if yes possible. That's all from my side. Dr. Ankit Khandelwal, anatomy expert. Thank you very much.